Sarah was a 20-year-old girl who loved to travel. She enjoyed seeing new places and meeting new people. One day, she had a big dream to visit London. London was a large city with many famous places. Sarah felt very happy thinking about her trip. When Sarah was a child, she often looked at maps and read books about faraway cities. London was always her favorite city. She wanted to see Big Ben, the Tower Bridge, and Buckingham Palace. These places made her feel very excited. One day, Sarah talked to her best friend, Anna. "I want to visit London," Sarah said with a big smile. "It is an amazing city with a lot of history and culture." Anna smiled back at her and said, "You should go, Sarah. You are young and you love adventure. This is the perfect time to explore the world. You will have many great experiences." Anna's words made Sarah think. She decided to make her dream come true. Sarah was a little nervous, but she was also very excited. She was ready for the adventure. Sarah spent the next few days thinking about her trip. She imagined herself in London, standing in front of Buckingham Palace, exploring the British Museum, and walking in Hyde Park. She knew planning a trip would take a lot of work, but she was ready for the challenge. Sarah's parents were very supportive. They knew she loved to travel and explore new places. They encouraged her to be careful and to make the most of her journey. Sarah promised them she would plan well and stay safe. With her parents' support, Sarah felt very excited. She could not wait to start planning her trip to London. This would be her first solo trip, and she wanted it to be perfect. She knew this journey would help her grow as a person. Sarah sat down with her laptop and a notebook. She was ready to start planning. She made a list of things to do. First, she needed to research London. Then, she needed to decide on the places she wanted to visit. Next, she needed to book her flight and hotel. Finally, she needed to prepare her documents. There was so much to do. Sarah planned her days in London. She made a schedule. On the first day, she would visit Big Ben and the Tower Bridge. On the second day, she would go to Buckingham Palace and Hyde Park. She also planned to visit the British Museum. Sarah wanted to make sure she had time to see everything. Now, Sarah needed a place to stay. She wanted a safe and comfortable place that was not too expensive. She read many reviews and looked at pictures of hotels and hostels. Finally, she found a nice hostel in central London. Sarah checked her passport to make sure it was valid. She did not need a visa for a short stay in the UK. She made copies of her passport, flight tickets, and hostel booking, just in case. She also made a budget for her trip. She needed money for the hostel, food, transportation, and sightseeing. Sarah saved money from her part-time job. She did not want to carry too much cash, so she got a travel card that she could use like a debit card in London. Sarah also wanted to stay in touch with her family and friends. She found out that international roaming for her phone was expensive, so she decided to buy a local SIM card in London. This way, she could use the internet and make calls without spending too much money. Sarah also read about the culture and customs in London. She learned about British manners and some common phrases. She wanted to be polite and fit in. She even practiced saying some British English words. The night before her trip, Sarah was very busy. She made sure everything was ready. She double-checked her packing list. She packed her clothes, toiletries, and documents. She put her bags by the door so she would not forget them in the morning. The next morning, Sarah woke up early. She got dressed and had a quick breakfast. She grabbed her bags and headed to the airport. Her parents drove her to the airport and helped her with her bags. They hugged her and wished her a great trip. The flight was long, but Sarah kept herself busy. She read her book, listened to music, and watched a movie. As the plane began to descend, Sarah looked out the window. She could see the city of London below. Her heart raced with excitement. She couldn't believe she was finally here. She was finally in London, ready to start her adventure. Sarah took a taxi to her hostel. The city looked amazing from the window. She saw many famous landmarks on the way. When she arrived at the hostel, she checked in and found her room. It was small, but cozy. She met her roommates, who were also travelers. They were friendly and shared their travel stories. Sarah felt comfortable and excited to make new friends. On her first day in London, Sarah woke up early. She was full of excitement. She got dressed and had breakfast at the hostel. She talked to some other travelers and got tips on where to go and what to see. Sarah decided to start her day by visiting Big Ben. She walked to the nearest bus stop and took a bus. She enjoyed the ride and looked at the city through the window. When she arrived, she saw the big clock tower. It was even more impressive in person. Next, Sarah walked to the tower bridge. She took many pictures and enjoyed the beautiful view. The bridge was very famous, and Sarah felt happy to see it with her own eyes. After that, Sarah went to Buckingham Palace. She saw the guards in their red uniforms and black hats. She watched the changing of the guard ceremony. It was very interesting and fun to see. Sarah then decided to visit Hyde Park. She walked around the park, enjoying the fresh air and the beautiful scenery. She sat on a bench and watched people walking, jogging, and playing with their dogs. It was a relaxing and peaceful place. For lunch, Sarah went to a nearby cafe. She tried a traditional British dish called fish and chips. It was very tasty. She also had a cup of tea. Sarah liked trying new foods and learning about the local cuisine. After lunch, Sarah visited the British Museum. She saw many interesting exhibits and learned a lot about history. The museum was very big, and she spent a few hours exploring it. In the evening, Sarah returned to her hostel. She was tired, but very happy. She talked to her roommates about her day. They shared their own experiences and gave her more tips for her trip. Sarah went to bed early. She wanted to be well rested for the next day. She felt very happy and excited about her adventures in London. The next day, Sarah decided to explore more of central London. She woke up early and had breakfast at the hostel. She planned her day and set out with excitement. Her first stop was the London Eye. Sarah bought a ticket and got on the big Ferris wheel. As it went up, she could see the whole city. The view from the top was amazing. She took many pictures to remember this moment. For lunch, Sarah went to Covent Garden. It was a busy place, with many shops and cafes. She found a nice cafe and had a sandwich and a cup of coffee. She also watched some street performers. They were very talented and entertaining. Sarah returned to her hostel, feeling tired but happy. She had seen and done so much in one day. She talked to her roommates about her adventures. They shared their own stories and gave her more ideas for the next days. The next day, Sarah decided to try more British food and do some shopping. She started her day with a traditional English breakfast at a local cafe. It had eggs, bacon, sausages, beans, and toast. It was very filling and tasty. After breakfast, Sarah went to Camden Market. It was a busy and colorful place with many stalls selling clothes, jewelry, and food. She enjoyed walking around and looking at all the unique items. She bought some souvenirs and a new dress. Sarah then visited Borough Market. It was a food market with many different kinds of food from around the world. She tried some samples and bought a sandwich for lunch. She also had a fresh fruit juice. The food was very delicious. In the afternoon, Sarah went to Oxford Street. It was a famous shopping street with many big stores. She walked along the street and did some shopping. She bought clothes, shoes, and some gifts for her family and friends. She enjoyed the busy and lively atmosphere. For dinner, Sarah went to a pub. She wanted to try more traditional British food. She ordered a dish called shepherd's pie. It was very tasty. She also had a dessert called sticky toffee pudding. It was sweet and delicious. After dinner, Sarah walked back to her hostel. She was very happy with her day. She had tried many new foods and done a lot of shopping. The next day, Sarah decided to meet new people and make friends. She started her day with breakfast at the hostel. She talked to some other travelers and learned about their plans. Sarah decided to join a walking tour of the city. It was a group tour with a guide. She met many other travelers on the tour. They were from different countries and spoke different languages. Sarah enjoyed talking to them and learning about their cultures. The tour guide took them to many famous places. They visited the Tower of London, St. Paul's Cathedral, and the Shard. The guide told them many interesting stories and facts about the city. Sarah enjoyed the tour and learned a lot. After the tour, Sarah and some of the other travelers decided to have lunch together. They went to a nearby cafe and talked about their travels. Sarah made new friends and exchanged contact information with them. She was happy to meet people who loved traveling as much as she did. In the evening, Sarah went to a social event at the hostel. They had a movie night. Sarah watched a movie with other travelers and talked to them about their travels. She made more new friends and enjoyed the evening. The next day, Sarah decided to take a day trip from London. She wanted to see more of England. She woke up early and had breakfast at the hostel. She packed a small bag with water, snacks, and her camera. Sarah decided to visit Cambridge. She took a train from London to Cambridge. The train ride was short and comfortable. She enjoyed looking at the countryside from the window. When she arrived in Cambridge, she felt very excited. She walked around the city and saw many beautiful buildings and gardens. She visited the famous University of Cambridge. She saw the old colleges and the beautiful libraries. She felt very inspired by the history and the architecture. In the afternoon, Sarah took a walk in the Botanic Garden. It was a beautiful and peaceful place with many plants and flowers. She enjoyed the fresh air and the beautiful scenery. She sat on a bench and rested for a while. In the evening, Sarah took the train back to London. She felt very happy and satisfied with her day trip. She had seen and learned a lot. She returned to her hostel and talked to her roommates about her trip. They shared their own day trip experiences. Sarah went to bed, feeling very happy. She loved exploring new places and learning new things. She couldn't wait to take more day trips and see more of England. During her trip, Sarah faced some challenges, but she also had many fun moments. One day, she got lost while exploring the city She couldn't find her way back to the hostel. She felt a little scared and worried, but she asked for help from a kind local person. They gave her directions, and she found her way back. She learned to always carry a map and ask for help when needed. Another challenge was the weather. One day, it rained a lot. Sarah didn't have an umbrella and got very wet. She felt cold and uncomfortable, but she found a warm cafe and had a hot chocolate. She waited for the rain to stop and then continued her exploring. She learned to always check the weather and be prepared. Sarah also had some fun and memorable moments. One day, she visited a famous bakery and tried a traditional British pastry called a scone. It was very delicious. She enjoyed it so much that she went back the next day for another one. Another fun moment was when Sarah visited a music festival in a park. She listened to live music, danced, and had a great time. She met many new people and made new friends. It was a very happy and fun day. Sarah also enjoyed visiting a local market. She tried many different foods and bought some handmade crafts. She loved talking to the vendors and learning about their products. It was a very interesting and enjoyable experience. One day, Sarah visited a famous theater and watched a play. The performance was amazing. She enjoyed the story and the acting. It was a memorable experience, and it made her appreciate the art of theater even more. Another challenge Sarah faced was navigating the public transport system. At first, she found the buses and trains confusing. She got on the wrong bus a few times. But with some help from friendly locals, and by paying close attention to maps, she soon got the hang of it. She felt proud of herself for learning to navigate a big city like London. One evening, Sarah decided to join a ghost tour. It was a night tour where they visited old haunted places in London. The guide told spooky stories about ghosts and mysteries. Sarah was a little scared, but she also found it very exciting and fun. Sarah also faced a challenge when she lost her phone on the tube. She felt very worried and upset, but she quickly found a station staff member who was very helpful. They managed to find her phone and return it to her. Sarah was very grateful and relieved. One of the funniest moments was when Sarah tried to speak with a British accent. She practiced with her friends at the hostel, and they all had a good laugh. It was a fun way to learn and enjoy the local culture. The next morning, Sarah woke up early to catch her flight home. She packed her bags and made sure she had all her documents. She checked out of the hostel and took a taxi to the airport. As the taxi drove through the city, Sarah looked out the window, taking in the sights one last time. She felt a mix of emotions. sadness to leave, but happiness for all the memories she had made. At the airport, Sarah checked in for her flight and went through security. She had some time before her flight, so she walked around the airport, reflecting on her journey. She bought some last-minute souvenirs for her family and friends. She wanted to share a piece of London with them and tell them all about her adventures. When it was time to board the plane, Sarah felt a sense of excitement to go home. She found her seat and settled in for the flight. As the plane took off, Sarah looked out the window, watching the city of London grow smaller and smaller. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the amazing journey she had experienced. On the way home, Sarah shared some of her stories. She told them about the famous landmarks, the delicious food, and the new friends she had made. Her family listened eagerly, happy to hear about her adventures. When they arrived home, Sarah unpacked her bags and showed her family the souvenirs she had brought back. They were very happy and excited to see the gifts and hear more stories. Over the next few days, Sarah shared more details about her trip. She showed her family the pictures she had taken and told them about the places she had visited. They enjoyed hearing about her experiences and were very proud of her. Sarah felt very grateful for her supportive family. She knew that their encouragement had helped her achieve her dream. She felt very lucky to have them in her life. Sarah's trip to London had been a dream come true. It had been an amazing adventure filled with learning, growth, and joy. She felt very blessed and grateful for the experience. As she looked back on her journey, Sarah knew that she had grown as a person. She felt more confident, independent, and open to new experiences. She knew that traveling had enriched her life in many ways. Sarah's heart was full of gratitude for the beautiful city of London and the wonderful memories she had made. She knew that London would always have a special place in her heart. Sarah's journey had come to an end, but she knew that her love for travel would continue to grow. She felt excited about the future and the many adventures that awaited her.